Okay, I want to just welcome you to this workbook review session. I am now live on Facebook, just privately in the group, as I promised, and I want to spend some time teaching and then hopefully talking about. You can comment on this video if you're on here, obviously, while I'm presenting it. And then just afterwards, after the fact, please just let me know your thoughts. As well, I'm very interested. This is the first time we're doing something like this within the group, and I'm definitely hoping it has the same impact for everyone that it does when I work with people privately. So let's talk a little bit about the Don't Diet, Live It workbook. The idea with you doing a workbook is that in between sessions of the coaching calls or in between, the posting, there's something that gives you some sort of continuity around making changes. Okay, so there's that piece, because what can happen is outside of working with Fit for Life in whatever form or fashion that occurs in, the rest of the world doesn't seem to subscribe to the same approaches. And so as you're trying to be different, what you're going to find is there's going to be an internal tug to return to old ways of coping, old behaviors. The people that are around you typically like the version of you that likes to eat and have a good time and hang out. And so as you're trying to be different, just like somebody I'd be working with around drug use or alcohol use, they will find that as they want to be different, their whole life changes, right? Because they have drinking buddies and they have partying friends, and they're not going to want to do those things with those people anymore. And a lot of times they don't know what the relationship will look like without that. On top of that, they still want to use their substance too. So they've got the pull of the old lifestyle from the people that they used to spend time with, but they also have the internal tug that they're dealing with. And a lot of times there can be shame around the fact that you want to be your old self on some level, but it's just par for the course. Oh, okay, so let me see. Thank you for telling me. I wonder why. Can you hear anything now? You may want to check your volume. Um, okay, good. All right. And so just picking up, what I'm doing is I'm going over, and I may just kind of reboot here. I'm going over the workbook from the group, and a lot of what you're going to be dealing with as you're trying to make changes is that the people that you're around are going to be triggering when it comes to trying to go back to eating the way that you've always been eating, behaving in a more fun way. You're going to find that you get a lot of pushback, and my programs are a little different than a lot of what people will tell you to do these days, and I know that. And I've been in the business for a long time. I've been doing this for 16 years. If it exists, I probably either done it myself or encouraged somebody to do it. So it's not like I don't know how to count calories, or I was trained in dietetics. I know how to do nutrition the traditional way. As I started working with people more and I started trying to deal with my own health issues, I realized that there was a lot more going on than I'd ever been taught and understood about what food is capable of. So if food can make you a diabetic, your mama's good cooking because she loves you, right, can make you a diabetic. If food can give you high cholesterol, the stuff that's on every corner and served at every meeting you go to, and every event, right? If these same foods can cause your joints to ache, right? But we're supposed to be eating them. So if food can make you sick, food can heal you as well, right? So that shift was a lot of where the Afro Diva Sundown And yes, the Afro, 1999. Yeah, the Afro Diva Slim Down and the nutrition programs came from is just working with women over time and realizing if I'm really going to do this, if I'm going to be this person that you trust as your advisor in this area, then I need to be concerned not just about your waistline, because anybody can do that. And these days, everybody's doing it. It didn't used to be like this, but everybody's doing it now. Everybody can talk nutrition. I need to not just be concerned about your waistline, but what am I doing to you long term with your health? Right? So if I give you a bunch of protein powder every day to eat that's full of soy, and then 5 years from now, the general community decides that soy is bad for you, I did that to you and you trusted me. And that is why we have the slim down, is because I know better. And I want you to not just be like fly and fabulous and fierce, because I really do believe all that stuff. And we need to talk about that, Edith. Not just all of that now, but long term, I want your health to be better. Okay. So that's how the slim down is designed and wired, is about not just now, but like long term. Now, everyone was supposed to get, if you did C1, that's probably where the breakdown's occurring, Edith. If you did C1, you would have gotten a workbook, and if you did post detox, you would get a workbook. If you're doing transformation, that wasn't built into the cost. So we can get you a workbook. I really, really want you to have a workbook, because this is going to be the connective tissue between changing, not just like temporarily, but making long-term changes and really understanding kind of why you've struggled maybe with yo-yo dieting or trying to lose weight. Over your life. Most of the people that come to me have been struggling with weight and food for a long time. And this is just one of the things I use in my practice with people privately, and I know that it makes a big difference. So it is on Amazon. Okay, so it is the Don't Diet, Live It workbook. So the Don't Diet, Live It workbook. And it is on Amazon. It's $16. And it's Andrea Wachter, I think that's the right way to say that, and Marcia Marcus. They're mental health therapists. And so today what we're talking about is not the food, though. If you do have questions, I'm here for you guys to just answer questions too today. And feel free to type those. But the first chapter, yep, you can order it. And if you have Prime, you should have it in a day. So just don't order it from the UK. Because that's an option that first pops up, and that takes 7 to 10 days, because I made the mistake of doing that for somebody. But yeah, you can order it on Amazon Prime. So outer solutions versus inner solutions. Now, one reason I like this book is because, I'm a lifetime student. I'll probably be in school trying to learn something forever, because I just like that. Not everybody likes to read, and I realize that, and they don't want to spend all their time in a book. So I like this workbook because the reading isn't that long. So see, that's just like 3 or 4 pages of reading. Right? And then you have to start doing the work. That's what's really powerful about the workbook. So it's not as much reading. And the first chapter is about outer solutions versus inner solutions. And I'm going to just go over a little bit of it. Good. Oh, it will. Yeah, I'm the queen of workbooks and books, Edith. So even when I do therapy, people are surprised that there's so much homework. But I just feel like when you're starting to change the way you think, we learn by studying, and we learn by, practicing and repetition. And if I'm just seeing somebody once a week, that's not enough. That's why progress in therapy, I think, can be so slow with people. Yeah. So I'm like, no, you need to do your work in between appointments, and people have amazing breakthroughs as a result. So please get the book and please use it. That would be awesome. And, what we talk about in this first chapter, what an outer solution versus an inner solution looks like, okay? And a lot of what I get from people when they come to work with me is, if I could just be thinner, my life would be better, I'd be happier. Or if I could just lose this little bit of weight, everything would be better, right? And a lot of this is very superficial, not from the standpoint of I don't want you to feel fabulous and look great in your clothes, but your happiness isn't going to be contingent upon the weight loss. Will it make your days better? Absolutely. Will being healthy make your days better? Absolutely. Is the reason that you have gone to food in the first place, or maybe have a hard time with food, have anything to do with you manipulating your weight? Absolutely not. So the food is a very superficial behavioral part. Our question is for us to go beneath this and figure out, why do you keep gravitating towards food? What is it about food that you're trying to do, right? What's the inner problem? What's the inner solution that we need to address? So one of the things it talks about is many of us have found solace in food when we could not find it in our families and our relationships. Food was something we could count on. Everything else was unstable. So parents might disapprove or be critical. Friends might tease or turn on you. Your best efforts, right? We can try as much as we want to get things right in any scenario, but our best efforts may not result in success or happiness. But ice cream is always creamy. Peanut butter is always rich, and chocolate is always sweet. So there's a consistency there to the expectation with that relationship. So that's one reason people are driven to food. It goes on to say that food can be a solution for some things. It can end hunger, give nourishment, and provide pleasure. But there is no food that can combat loneliness, anger, shame, sadness, or anxiety. These are inner issues. So they're inner problems that need inner solutions. When we become obsessed with food in our bodies, we are trying to solve an inner problem with an outer solution. So hopefully that resonates, right? I was working with somebody recently who was struggling with, I have a client I have a couple of people who are struggling with alcoholism. And it was a light bulb moment that every time this person's spouse would leave, they would want to use, they'd want to drink. And this individual said to me, I don't get why that's an immediate trigger. And we've been working together for a while, and I'm really impressed that we'd gotten below, beneath the surface of just the drinking. And I said, well, you get lonely because you don't want this person to leave. Because I know this individual well enough to know that being alone is not okay. And it's not like the person's leaving for good. It's just like being alone is just not okay, right? Loneliness is that profound. So instead of having to deal with that idea of I don't want to be by myself or I don't want to be lonely, the brain is so programmed to immediately say, let's drink, right? And in this instance, it could be, well, let's eat, right? The house is empty. I'm going to be alone, or I don't like the fact that I don't have a partner. I don't like the fact that I'm divorced or my relationship's not satisfying. I may even have a partner but feel like I don't, which can be so much worse. Let's eat, right? Because food is always, it's constant, so it won't disappoint, right? So that's what this is speaking to, is trying to solve what is really an inner problem with something external. And you're going to keep lapsing on diets if you don't figure out why you're going to food, because those problems don't go away. And when you take the food away, the problems are still there, and eventually you have to deal with them. And if you don't know how to, you go back to the food. That's why diets stop working. That's why people could do Weight Watchers or do something else, but all of a sudden they lapse. And it's knowing what the triggers were, and also knowing what your inner struggles were that you never dealt with, right? So in the books, they go on to do like a little case study. So they talk about somebody's, situation. Another piece here, and I observe this a lot when I work with women, on page 17, talks about the fact that we can be chameleons. And so I want to go on to just read a little bit of this. Not only have we used food and other outer distractions to silence our true feelings, we've spent a lot of our time, and I'm paraphrasing, focusing on other people's feelings and needs. Because that's, especially in this area of the country, how we're taught to be like good women, right? We're supposed to worry about what everybody wants. So, of course, there is nothing wrong with caring or being concerned about other people. However, if it is at your own expense, it is not only unhealthy for you, it is likely unhealthy for the person. Many of our clients see themselves as chameleons, adapting to the likes and dislikes of the people around them. Most of them fear that their needs or their feelings will upset or anger other people. Many women will say they're people pleasers, and something I've personally been working on forever and ever. I was very much trained to look after and care for people and worry about their own needs. Being uncomfortable with their own feelings or your own feelings, they're also unable to tolerate anybody else's feelings. We call this enmeshment in therapy, but it's the idea that your partner or somebody you care about being upset, let alone being upset with you, is just way too much for you to deal with. And even the strongest women I know who feel like they've kind of tackled this beast, still very much like the closest people in their lives or their children, they really worry about disappointing people. And this is a tough one to overcome. Oprah talked about it forever and ever on her show, and I always thought that was great that she addressed the fact that we're just hardwired to take care of. Literally, we're supposed to be taking care of another human being as a woman. That's what we're biologically taught to do, and it can really get us in the end. So it talks about there's a difference between focusing on and trying to fix other people's feelings and actually being able to tolerate and accept their feelings. As you become familiar with your own needs, your own feelings, you will learn how to be comfortable with other people's feelings as well. As long as you are focused on outer solutions, fixing other people, buying a new car, having a thin body, having a baby, falling in love, earning more money, you will not be able to address the inner pain that drives you away from yourself in the first place. The process of recovery leads you inward to learn who you really are and what you really need. So this book believes that there's a few different stages of change when dealing with not using food emotionally, so not emotionally eating, okay? So there's going to be 4 distinct phases. There's going to be denial, transition, early recovery, and ongoing recovery. They go on to talk about those on page 17. I'll let you read about those. And then you figure out what stage you're in, okay? So page 19. What I want you to do, so this is page 19. This is journey number 1. I want you to do journey 1, front and back here. Do not go on to journey 2, all right? I just want you to do the reading, do the first journey, and just sit with that, all right? The way this book works is then you're going to go on to chapter 2. Though chapter 1 has journey 2, journey 3, journey 4, okay? What you will find yourself doing is hopefully a year from now going back and looking at journey 2 for chapter 1, journey 2 for chapter 2, right? And seeing where you were and what's different now. Okay, so it's an idea, it's the idea here rather is that you will have like lifelong recovery from emotional eating, which for a lot of people this resonates because they've been struggling with food for as long as they can remember. It's always been their go-to. So what are some external things, outer solutions you think would make you happy? The examples they give, losing 10 pounds, having a baby, getting a job, you would write those down. Starting your business, moving, right? Getting a promotion. All right, add to the inner pain list. So this this is question 2. Some problems with which you are struggling. Add to the outer solutions list the ways you attempt to solve them. They give you some suggestions here. So inner pain is feeling insecure, feeling fat, self-hatred, feeling hopeless, unresolved anger. Other things that people will tell me that they are feeling is anxiety. I get a lot of anxiety with people, just nervousness about a variety of different situations. A lot of times it's work, feeling like a fraud at work. Maybe they'll be found out. So just different areas for inner pain. Outer solutions. So dieting, excessive exercising, throwing up, buying new clothes. These are just some suggestions. They don't have to be yours, of course. What I will find is people will shop. People will do things for other people. They will keep changing things in their life, right? Anything to try to self-medicate. 3, I want you to capture how you felt as you were doing the exercises. Okay, so steps 1 and 2 here. You're going to drop to 3. What feelings came up as a result of doing this? Next page, list the time when you felt like a chameleon just this week. So you were adapting yourself to fit in with somebody else or others rather than remaining genuinely yourself. I had a client recently who was dealing with coming out and would sit and tolerate other people speaking negatively of homosexuals and not say anything. They didn't know this individual was homosexual. And that's a situation where the person's a chameleon, and then this is a moment where they're going to be driven to eat, right? Because they don't get to be themselves, and they tolerate a lot of things that are painful as a result. So looking at where you would be a chameleon in your own life. Number 5, write about what you think would have happened if you had acted authentically in the above situation. If this person had spoken up, all hell would have broken loose. That was pretty much what we came up with. So we're still working on that one. Number 6, what stage of recovery do you think you are presently in and why? Look at page 17 for that to make sense. 7 is what are some things you can do to focus on your inner self rather than your outer self. So now, if you have anxiety, I get a lot of clients with anxiety, working on breathing techniques, how to be mindful and present, how to stay grounded, getting massages, doing yoga, taking quiet time. That's a way to deal with anxiety, right? Feeling hopeless. There are strategies for challenging negative thinking patterns, working gratitude. So you want to think about ways that you can work on your inner self rather than your outer self. Okay, so that's chapter 1. Hopefully this makes sense, and that's journey 1. Hopefully this makes sense. I really hope that this is helpful to all of you. I have, again, like I said, observed it and personally have done a lot of my own work to be very helpful. I'm a self-help workbook junkie anyway, personally, and I know getting to know yourself really shifts and makes a big difference with this whole behavioral piece. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and wrap up. I think I'm approaching 25 minutes here soon. And I'm thinking that these little live sessions will be on Fridays around the same time. And they should be about 25 minutes. Next Fridays is actually a coaching call. So what I will do is I'll be on the phone at the same time that I will do the live session. And go right from doing the call to tackling the book at the same time. And those are recorded. So you'll have a recorded version of the coaching call as well as me going over the book live. And I think that'll be helpful, having this in the group. And then the following Friday, you'll have another coaching call, same thing. So it's always going to be around this time. So those of you who can't hop on at this time, these videos will be in the group, and I'll do my best even to make them available just for you to look at on your own if I can get them saved to my iPad. Okay, so I'm going to wrap up. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and again, welcome to the Slim Down, those of you that are complete and total newbies, and keep posting, and definitely let Desiree and Marty Garges, who is a Fit for Life veteran who has been lost 40 or 50 pounds and has just stayed around for like almost a decade now. Please let her help you as well. She knows how to do this, and would love to support you guys. Post. Do not be bashful. We are not judging you. You cannot screw this up. Our jobs are to help you to get to that next level, that next point, and that involves us engaging. So don't be afraid. We have nothing here but good energy for you. So please post and ask lots of questions. Okay, have a great day.